Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this double twisted easel card. I'll try and tip it up so that you can actually see what it would look like sitting on the shelf. Okay, my hands are in the way obviously, but I think you get the idea. Okay, so it's two easels and they're twisted so they're facing each other. Okay, I'm going to change my colour scheme. So today I'm going to be doing Pool Party. The cardstock you're going to need to start off with a sheet of Pool Party cardstock, and this measures 8 inches by 8 inches, which is 20 centimetres by 20 centimetres. You will need 2 pieces of Whisper White, and that measures 3 7/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches, which is 9.75 centimetres by 9.75. Then you'll need 2 pieces of Pool Party cardstock, and they measure 4 inches by 4 inches, which is 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. And then 2 pieces of Designer Series paper, and that measures 3 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, or 9.5 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. You'll also need a piece of Whisper White, which measures 7 7/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches, or 19.75 by 9.75 centimetres. And another piece of Designer Series paper, and this measures 7 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and that is 19.5 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. You'll also need a piece of Whisper White and a piece of Pool Party cardstock, both of which must measure at least 2.5 inches by 2 inches, and that's 7 centimetres by 5 centimetres. So the first thing I'm going to do is to prepare the base of the card. I'm going to move that out of the way because I need to bring in my scoreboard. Obviously you can use your trimmer if you'd rather. Right, so all I'm going to do on here is to score at 4 inches, which is 10 centimetres. Whoops, did that the other day. I don't know whether you saw that video, but if you get a score mark where you don't want it, just very gently, in fact let's do that not on top of this, where you've got the score line, if you just very gently go over it where you've got with your foam folder, then that will push it out. It will still be visible, but that I will do as the top part, and then it will get covered, so that's okay. Right, now I'm going to move on to my trimmer, and with this what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cardstock in here with my score mark going left to right, and I'm going to line this corner up at 4 inches or 10 centimetres, and you need to cut down to the score line. So for me, I've only got centimetres on here, so if you've got inches on yours, that's fine. If you're doing centimetres and you've got this, that's fine. Otherwise do like I am and just line up. I'm going to tilt this a minute. Just line up the pointer with your scored line and then cut from there. Right, that's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to cut up like that. Now you could carry on using your trimmer for the next bit. You need to do some more scoring, but I really do prefer my scoreboard for this. Right, so what you need to do is, I always use the 6-inch, then I know what I'm doing. I never change my plan on that. In fact, let me zoom you out a little bit. Hopefully we can see everything here. Maybe not quite everything. I don't really want to move the tripod, otherwise I may not get it back again. There we go, that should be alright. Okay, so what I do is I find where my 6 inches is down here, and I do that by putting my scoring tool in at 6 inches and then just sliding down in that channel, and then I put this point up in my 6-inch mark, and then I make sure this point is in the same channel as my scoring tool. Okay, like that. You can just about see that. So what I'm going to do is hold that steady, and then I'm going to score from the 6-inch there up to the cut line. Okay, my cut line is this side. So I'm going to do that again on the opposite side. I'm going to get my scoring tool into the 6-inch channel, bring it down. I'm going to pop this one back in at number 6, and then I'm going to make sure this corner is also in number 6, like that. And again, with my cut on this side, I'm going to score down to my cut line, like that. And that's all we need the trimmer and scoring board for. Now, using your bone folder, you need to fold on these score lines. Okay, so first of all the halfway line. Just make sure it does actually line up. And then fold inwards. If you're folding this bit up, then fold this down to meet that piece. And again, bone folder to get a nice crisp fold, and then fold this one over as well. Okay. Now we need to put these pieces together, not those two, that's the odd bits. So you can use whichever is your preferred method of adhering, sorry, that's it. Whatever your favourite method of adhering things together, go for it. As you know, mine is Tombow. There we go. Now we do the other one. I have found with this card you do need to, you need a special envelope. You can use a standard business size envelope, but I think it's a shame to use one of those once you've gone to the trouble of making a handmade card. But that's just me. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there thinking, you know, it doesn't matter about the envelope, it's the card that counts, and take a far more relaxed attitude about it, which I wished I did. But I don't, so what I'm planning to do is do a separate video to show you what I do with the envelopes, because they do have to be long and thin, and you get overflaps with them. There we go, so that's all the gluing there. So let's put this piece on here as well. This one's got to go down here. Now you could put your two squares on now, or you can decorate them and then put them on. Well, I personally prefer to decorate them and then put them in. I think it's a little bit tricky whichever way you decide to go for it. There we go. Okay, so what will be happening is that will go on like that. That will be going on like that. And then we put something in the middle to hold that together. Okay, so easy. Right. So I think we'll do the decorating next. I've already made my flowers because this is really quite time consuming. I'll show you the flowers that I've used. I used the Botanical Builder punch, dies rather. Okay, this set here, get all sorts. And the ones that I've done is I did the large flower that gets the cutout on the inside. I've done the smaller flower that gets the cutout on the inside. But I think they're the only two, aren't they, that get the extra cut? Yes, they are. And that one is the one that I use for the centre of the big flower. And that one is the one that I use for the centre of the little flower. Okay, so they're the ones. But obviously I did that all beforehand because it does take quite a bit of time. Now the other thing to bear in mind is if these flowers come over the edge, it's going to affect the size of the envelope that you're going to need. If it comes over too much, even a business size envelope isn't going to be fitting. But I am going to allow mine to come over a little bit because I'm going to make my own envelopes, that's fine. And the other thing you need is to think that, I can't remember which card I showed you now. I've got flowers on this side and I've got flowers on this side, nothing at the back here. Okay, so that means doing these, I want flowers on one side there and on one side here. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere mine using Tombow. You could use dimensionals if you wanted to pop them up a bit, or you could use glue dots. But all the time I can get away with using Tombow for something, then I will do. Right. So this is the one that's going to be coming over the top, but I'm not going to let it come over the top too much. Okay, so that's coming over. Do this one. Just letting the flowers overlap a bit, that's okay. I don't mind that. And then this little one as well. Okay. Do the same over this side. Just popping up the petals a bit. Now am I going to try and do the flowers the same or different? I think I'll do them different. Okay, so that one's just got one piece sticking up. I'm going to move it over to the centre a bit more though. Right, and then I bring one here. This one I don't want going over the edge. That's it, that's right. And then a little one. Turn that one in a different direction as well. Okay, so that's fine. Now the only bit that comes anywhere near being tricky is this bit here. Now we know that with the flowers on this side, on the right, left hand side, it's going to be always on, these flowers are on the right, it's going to be on the right. These flowers are on the left, always on the left. Okay, and the easy thing about using this DSP, because it's got writing on it, you know that the writing is going to be at the bottom here. Okay, anywhere else it's not going to be right at all. Okay, so what we're going to do is we need to adhere this to the triangle down there, and the easy way of doing this is, this is the corner that we need the glue on. Okay, so it's going to be on this bit here. So that's that corner there, and then I'm going to put glue on this bit up here as well, because it's almost impossible to decide where you want it along here. That's going to be absolutely perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to double check, and the reason I do that is because I did make one mistake with the first one that I made of these. Okay, so I know those two are going to be fine, and then I am going to put glue on the diagonal line, not too close because I don't want it leaking out. Right, so what I'm going to do now is hold that down, and I'm going to line this square up onto this square. Okay, so that's, I'm lining this corner up first, making sure that one's lining up, and then down here as well. Okay, just pressing it down where it's going to be gluing. Okay, so no glue on the outside. Well, maybe there's a little bit there where I've leaked, but I'm not going to worry too much about that because I can come back after. Once it's all dried, I can sort that out with the adhesive remover. But that's the only bit, that's not too bad. Okay, so that's all going to get stuck down there nicely. Now for the other side, okay, just double check before you do it to make sure that you are okay. My writing's going this way, I know it's got to go there, that means this is my glue bit. The bottom corner nearest you is the bit that you need to glue. Okay, bottom bit nearest, so it's this one. You could say I'm a little bit paranoid about this because I did it wrong once, but I found a way around it, which is what we normally can do with all our bloopers or boo-boos. Now again down the diagonal line, not too much, close but not too close. There we go. And now I'm going to line this square up with this square here. Okay. So just line all the sides up. From the top side you shouldn't be able to see any of the square underneath. Okay. Have a look. Did I get anything leaking out? Not this time. There we go, so that's all stuck down nicely. Right, I'm just going to leave that to settle down, and I'm going to do the stamping. The sentiment that I'm using doesn't look as if I've cleaned that since the earlier one that I did. Just excuse me for a moment while I do this. Where's my... here it is. Let me just... I don't know if you have one of these, but honestly they are absolutely brilliant. In fact, I didn't need to do that, did I, because it was already quite moist from my stamping from earlier on today. Let me just make sure that's all dry around it. And that one. Right, now I'm going to use Lagoon. When I'm using Pool Party, I don't always think that it's dark enough for sentiments. And I do find Lagoon works really well with this. Right, so I've got my scrap of Whisper White. I have my stamp. Just do that somewhere central. That's good. And I'm not going to do the flowery bit until after I've done the die cut. Let me show you on here. You see I've done the little flowers at the top there, and the reason I did that was because if I centered the sentiment, it made it look as if it was too small for the dies. So I thought if I did it towards the bottom, then I could just fill the top with the flowers, and then it looks like the right size. So that needs to be die cut. It would help if I told you the stamp sets as well, wouldn't it? The Happiest of Birthdays to You is from Birthday Blooms, and the little flowers I'm using is just that tiny little one from Cottage Greetings. So get my Big Shot over, and my dies that I'm using are from the Tags and Labels. Yes, Tags and Labels. This is a lovely layering set of dies. So what I'm doing is I'm going to use the largest square one and the largest one from that, and they layer together beautifully. So if I take this one first, in fact what I'm going to do, because I want to do these both at the same time, I'm going to cut this a bit smaller. Then I can do that in front of me, make sure it's all nice and straight. Then I can put the cardstock one above me. You will find that the curly bit on the T and the H just about touch the edges. Right, now can I have a look at this without going forward? I think so. And then we need this. Oops, that looks as if it jumped then. There we go. Okay, so that's the sentiment. In fact, I didn't bring the camera back in again, did I? And that's the pool party for the layering. Okay, let's just bring you back down again. That's better. Right, so I'm going to adhere these two together. Now when you put this onto, oh, I should have done my flowers first, shouldn't I? Never mind. When you adhere this to the actual card and you're using dimensionals, you may want to use double dimensionals to make it come up a bit higher. Totally a matter of choice, that is. Right, let's just do my flowers. It looks far too dark at the moment, but that will tone down as it dries. Right, so dimensionals. And I'll do one in each corner and one in the centre. Right, leave that there for a moment. Let's bring the card back in. Now wherever you decide that you're going to put this, it's got to hold this up. If you bring your sentiment too far to the front, you're going to find that it's all going to be falling, sitting like that, which, you know, from a front point of view, I don't know if I could show you, if you imagine it was sitting on a shelf. In fact, from that angle it doesn't look bad at all. But trust me, if it's too low down, it really doesn't look quite right. It's a lot nicer when the two are facing each other. Let's see if I can get that one to show you that. You see what I mean? It looks a lot nicer when you've got them more upright. So what you need is, once you've decided where you want them, and then you just pop this down. And again, with the writing, it's quite easy to get it straight. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get the centre of this to line up with the centre of that. If you go off to one side, you'll find that one of your uprights here is going to be a lot lower than the other one. Right, so about there, I think. I'm also using the words to try and make sure I get that straight. I think that's okay, isn't it? So there we go. That's the card. Nice and easy, isn't it? But what a wow. What an absolute wow that is for somebody to receive. You could decorate this an awful lot more than I have done here. But I'm just more concerned at the moment about the length of the video. Plus the fact I wouldn't decorate too much around here unless I had flat things, for example, maybe a stretch of ribbon or something. But anything that's flat, otherwise it's all going to get squashed down like that. But this could certainly be more decorated than I have done it here. But your choice totally. I hope you enjoy this project, and I really hope you give it a try. It is something different, and the only tricky bit really is trying to get this bit glued onto the triangle at the back, but it's not that difficult. Bit of fun really. So do give it a try, it's lovely. Many thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, please contact me. I'm always very happy to help. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. If you'd like to buy any of the products that I featured here today, please click on the 24/7 link that's in the box below, and that'll take you straight to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. And I will put all the products and the measurements and everything on the screen. But if you're watching this on a device that doesn't show those, they will all be in the box below. So you've got everything nice and handy, all in one place. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.